you not see it? I'll talk to you about it later.
I like his shoes, very fresh.
I've been wearing them every day, Greg. I thought you didn't miss anything.
They're just pure white like that?
I get them washed occasionally.
Jeff, yesterday you talked about the run game. Why's the reason so important to get it going?
Well, it's just what we believe. You know, as just a core belief. I think it makes your defense more physical. I think it's the only way to win championships. There are teams that have won championships by just throwing the ball. I'm not saying that. It's just it's pretty hard to have the triangle of toughness up as your brand, and you throw it, you know, 65% of the time or your yards. And it's not even so much. Sometimes you play superior teams, and sometimes you run the ball, and for the media, y'all might think it's a failure because you had 40 carries for 90 yards, right? But that's not necessarily a failure because you got to make the other team know you're committed to running the football because it just opens up so many other things. So we've got to get that addressed.
What were your impressions of Trey Smith? It looked like he had some flashes out there in week 1.
Yeah, he broke some tackles and made some good runs. And what we didn't give him or B. Brady, you know, a lot of clean looks, to be honest. But he came out of there one time, probably broke 4 tackles. And
yeah,
probably made the most exciting run of the night. But we also had some critical third down runs and some, you know, short yardage runs, which hurt your stats.
yeah.
It's not even that. It's what I always talk about. I know y'all get tired of hearing it, and because that's all I ever say, the same stuff over and over and over. It probably nauseates y'all, but it's not about the results to me as much as it is the brand, the way it looks. There's a certain way it's supposed to look, and we just didn't look tight. And you know, I know it sounds like a soft bet I'm making for my O-line coaches and my tight end coach and my running back coach, but when you have 4 offensive tackles out, that's just hard. And it's not anything against the 2 offensive tackles that are playing.
Yeah.
It's just the musical chairs. And it seems like now 3 years, we just keep going through this. And you are going to be able to write a master's paper on how hard it is to have a good O-line when you just keep getting people injured all the time.
One of the other things you mentioned earlier this week was protecting your quarterback, and you mentioned all the offensive linemen turnover. How do you go about doing that with that?
Well, because you're helping with tight ends, you're helping with running backs, you're sliding protection a certain way to help people in certain matches. That's more communication. That's more chance for error. But it's what we got to do right now to help out some kids.
Is it helpful this week to know that for Ernesto and Frankie, for them to know that they'll be that guy this week rather than kind of being thrust into that role in the first quarter like last week?
That's no doubt. That's a good point, Greg. Frankie did get backup reps last week, and Ernesto, who has not been practicing just because of his injury, you know, he's just been playing the game, which that's always hard. And but there's no doubt, knowing you are the guy coming in, that does. I'm sure it raises his level of awareness.
And for you guys, is it easier to kind of game plan around that and some of the things you might have to do to help?
Yeah, no doubt. When you got one of the best tackles in the conference at right tackle, you don't have a lot of plans to help on that side. And y'all have enough football knowledge to know that we were worried about our left tackle because he had been a guard. So our plans for the whole night were to help on the left side. And when you get in the middle of the game and you have to now start helping on both sides, that's a whole nother protection that we tried to draw up on the sideline. And you can tell by some of the results we didn't do a real good job. And that, I've said before, why I'm beating myself up so much, it's just I didn't anticipate the injuries well enough, and I'm really mad at myself.
As you look at this matchup against Army, how important is the defensive line depth that you guys are able to bring to the team? Does that make a big difference in this kind of a game?
You must have been listening to our talk this morning. I mean, 3D linemen can't beat these guys. You better have 9. Because, one, we believe that anyway, and that's what we take into every game. Obviously, you know, JJ didn't like it last week because he asked the question, but that's just what we believe, and we'll keep getting better. As I look back, and I violated the 24-hour rule by about whatever 24 times 4 is, that'd be 96. So 96 minus 24, that'd be what, 72? Mm-hmm. I violated the 24-hour rule by 72, so I would at least say I'm somewhat normal today if I've ever been normal. We played really well. We really did. When you just pull back and take off the fanboy, which I am, because nobody nobody loves San Antonio more than me. I'm a fan as much as I am a coach. And our kids played really well. And for a first game, we played really clean for a first game. Being very hard on me, my coaches, because the loss was so painful.
We know what that starting group can do, but it seemed like when you rotated like Evans and McDougal and Christian Clayton in there, they were really effective as well. What did you make of that unit's performance?
Yeah, whoever goes first does not matter to me whatsoever. I know it does to kids, and I know y'all think as media probably looking at our depth chart where it goes, you know, Greg Luca or JJ or, you know, I'm sure, but we really do play all those kids, and we try our best to get them all out there. And I'll get it a count today. Just probably be a staggering number how many kids we actually had play in the game.
Jeff, this Army team, football's the best part of their day. It's kind of a unique matchup. Do your players kind of know what those guys go through?
Yeah, but man, my guys went right at me when I said that. I mean, they came strong at me, and they said, you do understand football's the best part of our day too. I'm like, yeah, but it's for a totally different reason. They do not see it that way. They're like, we love football more than they love football. I'm like, you're totally missing the point right now. Our guys take great pride in being tough too. They do. And I told them, as I said to y'all yesterday, it's a similar battle because you have two teams that pride themselves on outplaying the other team. And I mean, y'all were at the game Saturday. You can see where we had some, you know, maybe some mismatches. Yeah, but our kids just, man, they out-effort people. And us coming off a tough loss and them coming off a tough loss will be interesting to see if we can manufacture enough juice on the road to overcome their juice.
Is it possible for you guys to create a scout team offense that simulates what they do, or are they just kind of like too crisp to really replicate it?
You'll never make it as good as them, but we have worked very hard for a while to have that look. I mean, Ryan Shaughnessy can run the option as good as anybody now after as many reps as he had playing quarterback for the last 7 months or however long we've been doing that.
What did you learn from the last meeting with them that kind of carries over into how you approach it this time?
That's a hard video to watch. I struggle watching the Houston game for different reasons. I struggle watching that game because we were a poorly coached football team. I mean, we were just UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. Man, it was bad, right? I don't know how y'all even kept me around here. And my kids were awesome. We were just so simple. We lined up. I mean, we were just formationally, we just got in a formation and ran a play. And defensively, we just played hard, right? We did not confuse our kids. We kept it very simple. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. The second thing is it's what I thought. They just play so hard. They play so hard, and they don't beat themselves.
They kind of kill the clock, right, on their offense. How important is the time of possession going to be in this matchup?
I don't know that time of possession is going to be that big a deal, just because they're going to do what they do, right? So I mean, you know, they're going to eat some clock. The deal is efficiency on our end. When we get the ball, what can we do with it on the limited amount of times we get the ball? So I don't know that we need to be worrying about trying to win the battle. We need to be trying to score points and be efficient, if that makes sense what I'm saying. I think when the game's over, if it says Army, 40 minutes, and it says UTSA 20 minutes, but we score on our drives, and we held them to field goals on their drives, they don't kick any field goals, they go for it like literally all the time. That's going to be the most important stats, our efficiency of offense and our efficiency on defense of just getting them off the field.
Because there's maybe a limited amount of offensive plays in this style of matchup, does that change any of your strategies?
For sure.
Yeah.
The biggest deal is we cannot waste timeouts. Like we did a good job in that game of using our 6 timeouts for our defense to try to stop the game, slow the game down. So we can, which we did a good job of in that game. We were very clean in that game. So we've got to do the same thing in this one as well.
Jeff, The Athletic had a story yesterday about Houston's choice to take the ball first in overtime against you guys. That's not really conventional. Did that surprise you guys at all?
No, Dana has done that, and that's kind of one of his beliefs. He's into the psychological part of it, which sounds like something I'd be into. And believe it or not, I go the other way because of y'all are like this for the analytics, believe it or not, which I am not a fan of most of the time. But my belief on that has always been that I'd like to know on that 4th down what I need to do, so I get an extra down. So my first down play call is not really a first down play call, it's a bonus call. That's my view. Obviously Dana sees it differently because of the psychological aspect. I would imagine, I've not spoken to Dana on this, about once you get the points on there, the other team feels more pressure, but we don't coach that way here. Like, we don't talk about it. Like, we just don't. That's not the objective. The objective is to play to the brand. When Sackett ran out there on his way by, I said, just kick the blank out of it. I don't care. Just make sure you strike that sucker. And he struck it. And it's the way we coach. It's what we believe in our kids. So it's just it's a psychological thing, I would imagine, with him. But heck, he won, so maybe I need to listen.
Thanks,
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.